my name is Aria Page. I am in AP English 4, period 7, and this is my analysis PowerPoint video over the Kite Runner by Khalid Hassani. The summary. During the late 1960s, a young Afghanistan boy named Amir along with his father Baba were healthy Pashtuns, living alongside a fellow father-son duo Ali and Hassan, who also happened to be their Hazara servants. All four of them had grown up together since childhood. However, due to certain circumstances, Amir seemingly competes to gain his father's affection because he feels as if his father is directing all affection towards Hassan instead of him, along adding to the fact that Amir wishes to be a writer, much to his father's dismay. We will start with some of the literary devices that were in the book. The first one is foreshadowing. On page 40, SF foreshadows an upcoming war that occurs in their near future where the Pashtuns try to eradicate Afghanistan of the Hazaras. And his statement was, Afghanistan is the land of Pashtuns. It will always be. We are the true Afghans, the pure Afghans, not this flat nose here. His people pollute our homeland, our Watson. They dirty our blood. And also, Asif himself becomes a Taliban in the war to help reach this future of just pure Pashtuns instead of Hazaras. Another literary device is repetition. The quote is, "For you 1,000 times over." This quote was only said a few times in the book, but every time it was stated, it demonstrated Hassan's undying loyalty to Amir no matter how many times Amir had hurt him. However, Amir also says this to Hassan's son, Sarab, at the end of the book when they fly a kite together, indicating that Amir has since grown and matured, along with he is wanting to give Sarab a new life. The next one is point of view. The story itself has always been told based off Amir's point of view since the beginning, until he meets Rohin Khan, who explains what has happened to Hassan and Ali since their departure, also revealing that Amir and Hassan were actually half-blood, meaning that they were brothers, which causes a major shifting point in the story, and it empowers Amir to go seek out redemption for his crimes and to relieve himself of his guilt. The last literary device is symbolism. I chose the symbolism of the snow in the story because in the winter season it was said to be Amir's favorite season, along with the local flight kite festival. And in reading how to read literature like Professor, snow is depicted as innocence, purity, but that all changes when Amir ends up witnessing Hassan being raped in the alleyway by Asif, unwilling to defend his childhood friend, and the blood forever ends up tainting the snow, destroying it of its purity. But at the end of the story, the snow represents new beginnings and breathtaking effects to Amir because he takes Sarab to fly a kite, and while standing in the snow, it's almost as if the snow is making the air crisp, kind of hard to breathe, making him feel more at peace. This is the slide for a text-to-self, text-to-text, or text-to-world. For a text-to-self connection, in the novel, Amir and Hassan have a very strong connection with each other, even though at times Amir denies it. They would do so many things together and they would have each other's back. But for Amir to try so desperately to rid himself of that is very unacceptable to me. Because it's not every day that you meet somebody like that who's willing to go above and beyond for you. Even my closest friends and I have fought at times, but we've never tried to get rid of each other. When you have the privilege to meet someone like that, you don't want to just throw that away. You want to cherish it for all times, day and night, from season to season. a text to world connection would be that the Taliban group in the story say they are doing work under the word of God. I, for one, don't necessarily believe in that some nonsense sometimes, but regardless, they're not the only group to do something like that. They're relatively similar to the ISIS group and the Nazis. All three of these groups were military based, and they made it their job to eradicate like a specific ethnic group from the earth in order to be like make it pure. The Nazis tried to destroy many ethnic groups, but their main ones were the Jews. And then ISIS made it their job to kind of create like a certain one state under one of their like certain religious beliefs. And the Taliban wanted to eradicate the Hazaras because they said the Hazaras were infested to their homeland and that they need to be put in their place. All of these groups are dangerous and they all work around like military operatives. And they're all pretty much working for a lousy goal. To me. The setting, there's a lot of different places that they visit in this story, but the two main ones were Kabul, Afghanistan, which is the capital and the largest city of Afghanistan, located in the eastern section of the country. Kabul is located high up in a narrow valley between the Hindu Kush Mountains, and since the removal of the Taliban from power in the late 2001, the city began to rebuild itself from the assistance of international community. Despite the many terrorist attacks by anti-state elements, the city is developing and has the fifth fastest growing city and has 22 districts. This is the location where Hassan, Amir, Baba, and Ali had all grown up. It's also where they shaped their perspectives on lives. And it's where they lived a lavish lifestyle. They were in Baba was in a high class, wealthy class because of his accomplishments, and Amir lived off that. That was until they moved to America. They went to go live in Fremont, California, which is a city in California, San Francisco Bay Area, located in the southeast San Francisco Bay, and straddling both the East and South Bay regions. Vermont has a rapidly growing population of around 2,300,000, but has probably grown since then. It's one of the largest cities. The city has an extensive and rapidly expanding base of both tech industry and workers. Baba moves himself and Amir to America seeking for a new life, to get away from the war that has infested their homeland, and in doing so, they go from the high upper class to the working class, where Baba works in this at a gas station, and Amir wishes to pursue his career in writing. America also seems to westernize Amir, causing him to kind of forget like characteristics of his home birthplace, but it also serves as a place for him to grow and mature throughout the story. Important quotes. The only important quotes that I found super important in the story was "for you 1,000 times over," because this one specific quote signifies one's undying loyalty and love for someone, that being Hassan for Amir. And that's really something anyone could ask for. And not a lot of people get this kind of like reaction and stuff. This quote is probably the only thing that I really liked about this story. Ooh, I put story, I'm so sorry. It signifies the loyalty, dedication, and friendship of Hassan and Amir. With a single line, it feels as if all has been forgiven. It feels as though Sarab will also have a brighter future, because this is what Amir says to him at the end of the story when they're flying the kite. This single line gives hope to both Amir and Sarab in having new beginnings with all of their guiltiness and sins lifted. unique discoveries. Throughout the book, I did not know that Afghanistan had had like a significant not like holiday but festival with kites, and that the Afghan kites with their glass strings symbolize the dichotomy between beauty and violence, simultaneously representing Afghanistan and the half-brothers Amir and Hassan. Because with the kites, if you move your fingers one way down the kite, it'll be soft and smooth, but if you go up, you'll feel the glass fibers and it cuts you, which does represent their relationship, because throughout the situations, though they were close, they would have good laughs, they would have, if you go the other way, they would have difficult situations and hurt each other. And also with kites, you may hold on to the string, but no matter how far you go, it's always there. Like with Amir's guilt, no matter how far he tries to push it away, it'll always be there, tied to him like a red string of fate. And my final analysis for the book, in all honesty, I didn't really enjoy the book that much. It never really like captured my interest, but I do think the plot itself was thought out perfectly, and the whole concept was explained like brilliantly in a way to impact so many different readers and change so many different perspectives. Some parts did frustrate me at times, to where I wish I could have met Amir and like smacked him in the head with a textbook, but you can't really do that. But it was okay to me. Like, it's a good book, but it's not something that I could really get into. And my final slide is the lit crits for my Q3. The only two that I really found would be the Marcus theory and that guilt is a thriving force, because with the Marcus theory, they talk about social classes, and that was one of the big situations in this book, where Hassan was from a lower class and Amir for a higher class, so their friendship was kind of forbidden in a way, along with when Baba fell in love with a Hazara woman and gave birth to Hassan. And that so many people were mistreated in the story because just of their social class and where they came from. And guilt as a driving force, the passage speaks that every action Baba and Amir do is because of their guilt, and for it is the driving force. But if you let guilt lead your actions, it can always lead to devastating misfortunes. The example would be when, after Hassan was born, Baba decided to build an orphanage because he wanted to give Hassan and other children a chance at like life and having parents, to make up for when Baba can never really be a true parent to Hassan. And another example would be when Amir wishes to seek out Sarab to give him a second chance at life and to also redeem himself from after everything that he's done to Hassan himself, which leads him to getting in a fight with Asif, who ends up being a Taliban, to which ends up he's getting brutally beaten by Asif. However, this causes Amir to feel almost enlightened, because he feels like he's getting the punishment that he deserves. These incidents lead both men to realizing their mistakes and to take responsibility in themselves. So these two, because a lot of people can relate to these two theories. Some, like guilt, passion, anything like that can be a driving force to what your actions are. And with social classes, that's still something that's really big to this day. Like, there's a high working class that tries so hard. There's a wealthy class that just kind of sits there. And there's the poor who really can't do much. Like, the social classes are pretty much what make up society and will always make up society no matter how hard people try to change it. But that's my slide. Thanks. Tell me how it goes. Bye.